In this video, we will show you how to replace your power steering return line on this Buick Enclave. This will be located inside of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we have to do is gain access to our reservoir. To do that, we want to remove the upper engine cover. Remove your engine oil cap. We'll just give that a quick inspection, set that aside for now. Take hold of the cover, lift it straight up and away. Reinstall your engine oil cap so nothing falls inside of the engine. At this point, you have a clear view of the reservoir. Continue on to removing your reservoir cap. Once you've done so, the next thing you want to do is try to remove as much fluid as possible from inside of the reservoir. Now that we've done that, we need to safely make our way underneath the front of the vehicle. Under the vehicle, we'll continue on following that power steering line up above the front of the subframe. You're going to find that it is actually held in place with a clamp. You'll have to break that clamp, it's a single time use, and then remove the hose from the line. Remove your hose from the line. Make sure we have a collection bucket under this area. With that dislodged, let's make our way out here and remove these two push pins. Use our trim tool for this. Remove the center to unlock it. Pull it out of place. Now we can make our way up in here and remove our mounting point. Use a 10mm to remove this bolt. Inspect your mounting hardware, replace it as necessary. Now we can follow this rearward. We have another bracket here with a 10mm bolt. There's that bolt. Now we can move to our final mounting bracket. This one's located behind the rear of the subframe up above the power steering rack. That bolt's considerably shorter than the others. At this point, the bracket should be able to move around. Now, before we remove this final mounting bolt, let's make sure we have a collection bucket under this area as well. Use our 10mm once again. Quick inspection. Go ahead and swing that bracket aside. Okay, at this point, go ahead and take hold of that power steering line, give it a little tug straight away from the power steering rack, and remove it from the vehicle. Have a little bit of fluid out of here. It's going to just start draining out a little bit more fluid. Let's let it do its thing. At this point, we'll continue on to removing this shield. You'll find it's held in place with 4 15mm headed bolts, 2 on each side. Quick inspection of those. Let's set this aside. We'll just have to pivot this around as needed. Now that we have the line out of there, let's clean and inspect the port on the rack. Double check to make sure there's no debris in this area. Now let's transfer over the brackets from our original line over to the brand new line. For these brackets, you should find that you have a small tab that you would want to try to pry up into this area like I have it here. At this point, you can start prying this out of place. We would just lift this up a little bit. We only really need to spread this enough that we can remove the bracket from the line. We don't want to damage this in any way. Pull that off of there. Remove your boot, give it a quick inspection. Typically it is a good idea to replace these. Let's transfer this over to the brand new line in the approximate same area. Add a tiny bit of lubricant. Transfer this into place. When you install the bracket, make sure you have it in the proper orientation. If you put it on here backwards, you're going to have an issue. You can use some pliers if you need to spread that open a little further. Now, once you have it in place, the next thing that you will want to do is peen this over and bring this tab down through the corresponding hole. After you've done so, you want to go ahead and peen that over so there's no way that this can open up on you. We'll use some pliers for this. Double check to make sure it's on there. It's also a good idea to make sure that this can pivot. Continue on to doing the exact same thing to the next bracket. Now that we're done the brackets, let's continue on to our one O-ring at the very end of the power steering line. It slides right into the groove. Double check to make sure it's completely seated and we can get back over to the vehicle. Now we can start putting this into the vehicle. You'll find that at the very end where there was that O-ring, I put this plastic piece on here. It came with the kit and that's to help protect anything from making its way in the line. At this point, we'll have to start sliding this into the proper place. Take some power steering fluid on a gloved finger and coat that O-ring before sliding it into place. There we are. That should help it slide right in. You can continue on with the bracket. We'll take that and slide it into place. Continue on with your one 10mm headed mounting bolt. Start it in, snug it up, torque it to 106 inch-pounds. Double check to make sure the bracket is over the line before you continue tightening this. Confirm the line is secured to the power steering rack, and now we can continue on to our next mounting point. For this, we're going to be using our bracket. We want to make sure that we have it going over each of the lines and then align that mounting bolt hole. There we go, I got that bolt started in there. Make sure the bolt is nice and tight and double check to make sure your lines are secured properly in the bracket. Just try to get this aligned with its proper holes here. Protect this area. Put in our push clips. There we go. Let's connect this into the line across the front of the subframe here. Press it in as far as possible. Continue on with your clamp. You want to make sure you can see a little bit of the hose on both sides of the clamp. Double check to make sure that's secure. Go ahead and clean up your mess. Reinstall your shield. At this point, let's continue on at the reservoir itself. We're going to top off the fluid. When doing so, you want to make sure you use Dextron 6 fluid or equivalent. Use a funnel so you don't spill anything. Now, when you add fluid, it's almost impossible to know exactly how far up inside you are. You're going to want to use the dipstick on the cap itself. Once we get plenty of fluid inside of this, the next thing that you will have to do is safely raise the front of the vehicle just enough so the wheels are off the ground. Put the key in the on position, and then turn your steering wheel all the way to one side, pause, and then turn it all the way to the other side. Repeat this process several times. While doing so, it's going to burp out the air in the system. Now, once you've gone side to side several times, we'll just double check that fluid level. Typically, you will find that the fluid level is low. Continue on to adding it up to the maximum line on your little dipstick here. Once you've done so, go ahead and put the lid back on, start up the vehicle, let it run for a while, make sure there's no leaks. Now we can put on the engine cover. Before doing so, remove your engine oil cap. We'll take this and put it in place. Press it down onto the engine, double check to make sure it's secured, and reinstall your engine oil cap. Okay, friend, we've got the vehicle back together. At this point, you can go ahead and take it for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.